Hello everybody and welcome back to another episode of Satisfactory. As always, I appreciate the support from you guys, and make sure to give me a thumbs up and subscribe if you're enjoying the videos. In the last episode, we got a little bit of our train network started, got our steel highway hooked up with some iron ingot production, and we also got our iron ore and our coal train stations set up. In today's episode, we're starting on a huge project. It might be multiple videos before we get it done, but it is a huge project in which we're going to produce plastic, rubber, and turbo fuel. And that turbo fuel is going to be converted into 90,000 megawatts of power, which is going to help us actually turn on our factory. We can't even turn on our factories, so we need to kind of address the elephant in the room and get our power situation fixed. At first I thought, let's just do a turbo fuel power plant. Well, we're already extracting dinosaur juice from the planet, so we might as well go ahead and produce the plastic and the rubber we need for our phase 4 production. There's going to be over 300 refineries, and we're going to be producing 90,000 megawatts of power. I don't have any detailed blueprints for this or anything like that. It's all going to be kind of as we go. So we're going to get started on our plastic and rubber production, and then we're going to transfer over into our turbo fuel production. So let's get started. So I'll put it up on the screen for you what our big plan is. Basically, we're going to be producing 1,600 plastic, 1,200 rubber, and 2,700 turbo fuel with this plant. So it's going to be a pretty huge build. It's going to take over 300 refineries, like 86 assemblers. It's going to be a pretty big build. So I need a lot of space, and I figured since the city is going to be kind of in this area, why not just have a humongous dinosaur juice processing plant out here, huh? So let's go ahead and build out some foundations here, so give you guys an idea of the scale of this thing and how big it's going to be, and we'll get started. Okay, I have kind of an overview of what we're going to be building. On one section, we're going to have plastic production. The other section, we're going to have rubber production. And the heavy oil residue that is a byproduct of the plastic and rubber production will be pumped up. And up top here, we're going to have blenders. And each blender is going to be over, it's probably going to be, I think there's going to be 80 blenders up top here, kind of giving aesthetic to the roof. And those blenders are going to be doing the diluted fuel recipe. They'll be underclocked, and they are going to be using the heavy oil residue and water, and they're going to be converting that into fuel. Then that fuel is going to go over to our turbo fuel production facility, which will probably be over here. We're going to need 144 refineries and 86.4 assemblers. That is going to be producing our turbo fuel, and that turbo fuel will be sent off to where we're going to have our fuel generators, which will hopefully give us 90,000 megawatts of power. I think this whole facility is going to take about 15,000 megawatts of power. So we'll net about 75. So let's go ahead and go grab some materials, and I'll show you guys the blueprints that we're going to be using. They are the plastic refinery and the rubber refinery. Let's go ahead and show you guys the plastic refinery real quick. Just get it placed here. That looks good. I'll go ahead and build the rubber refinery. All right, now I'll kind of go over these with you guys here before we start building. So we are going to be producing 1,600 plastic, which means each one of these produces 20. And so we need 80 of these bad boys. So we need 80 plastic refineries. So we're going to build a row of 10 right here, and then do rows behind with a gap in the middle, so that we can actually kind of go around and give ourselves plenty of space. The rubber refinery is actually underclocked at 15 per minute because we're only going to need 1,200 rubber per minute. So I would only actually need 60 refineries, but I wanted it to be exactly the same on both sides. I didn't want to overclock, so I went ahead and underclocked to produce 15, which means it'll take 80 refineries on this side as well. They'll just be producing a little bit less. So the heavy oil residue will be probably ran through like a pipe like column or something, and I'll have that come up in the middle or on the sides, not sure yet. But I wanted to give ourselves kind of plenty of space here. I'll kind of build out the second one so you guys can see here. So yeah, give us a little bit of space so we could do some nice walkways, maybe a factory cart, you know, or here or there or something. I don't know, give it some life. But in the middle, we're actually going to have a bigger gap. That way maybe we have a little bit more space, because when it comes time to run the heavy oil residue up to the top to the blenders, I want to have plenty of space along the ceiling to make sure we do some good pipe work, because this is an open factory design and I want it to look nice and clean at the same time. You know, I don't want any spaghetti or pipe spaghetti, so I want it to look nice. So I should mention that the inspiration for this build is coming from the Igus Headquarters Plastics plant in Germany. It was done by Grimshaw Architects, which I'll put a picture up if I can, and I'll maybe post a video link in the description for you guys to watch, like a quick little documentary by Grimshaw Architects. It kind of talks about the factory, and I thought it was a really cool build. It had these pylons that actually support the roof. I thought it was ahead of its time, and I really enjoyed watching the video and seeing the inspiration, so I was like, hey, let's go ahead and try that with our build. So that's what we're gonna do, and let's go ahead and get started on the build here, and I'll see you guys when it's done. I'll probably run out of materials. I'm sure I will, actually. Let's go ahead and get started, and I'll see you guys when it's done. Alright, there we go. I'm officially out of materials, basically. So there's our plastic production and our rubber production. And so you can see here, now that we have it all done, you can see that we have kind of a 4 foundation gap between in the middle. And in the middle there. I don't know if a little section here will be big enough to run all of our pipes up top. I think it will, maybe not. I don't know. Now we need to go ahead and figure out our blender situation. So I'm gonna have 40 over here, 40 over here. It'll kind of look like the roof. So I need to go get some radio control units, build a blueprint, and I'll show you guys what the plan is. Okay, I went ahead and got just a little bit of a temporary setup for radio control units. And I think what we're going to do is overclock that just a little bit. We're going to be making 6.25 radio control units per minute just with the standard recipe. That'll get us at least some so we can start building it as we go. So let's go ahead and figure out how we're going to blueprint this blender out. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I think I've got it figured out. So here is our blender. Let me just get it placed here. So there it is. And I'll open up the side here to show you guys what we got going on. So here's the blender, and I do need a pump because I am going to pump it up. But basically, this blender is going to be producing 35.75 fuel per minute using the diluted fuel recipe. Requires water and heavy oil residue, which will be coming in right here. And I have 2 outlets here. One is for the light that's down here that will shine down on our refineries, and the other one is for the actual power for the pump and the blender. So pretty straightforward, but that's what it is. And hopefully we accrued some radio control units in the time it took me to go ahead and make this blueprint. So I'm gonna go ahead and start placing these, and we'll see how far we can get. All right, there we go. All 80 blenders are all placed in their own spot, and all of them have lights that come down here. So they'll be lighting up our refineries down on the bottom. That's our plastic and rubber production setup, as well as our fuel production setup. That's gonna be nice and expensive. So now we just need to worry about our logistics here, figure out how we're gonna go ahead and belt and pipe all this up. All right, so I think I've got a solution here, and I basically just built this little blueprint here. So we'll have our crude oil come in, our heavy oil residue come out, as well as our plastic. Everything will just run out. And so now I just need to go ahead and duplicate this out and put one of these under every single one. So let's get started. All right, there we go. So now I just gotta go through and connect them all up. Let's go ahead and get them all connected. And then we'll start worrying about how we're gonna get all this stuff from here to up there. So I got to thinking while I'm doing this, let me know what you guys think as far as the cosmetics go, because we're going to have to do a cosmetics episode, or I could do a cosmetics live stream. Let me know in the comments what you guys think would be best, or what you would like to see, as I have the capabilities of doing either or, but maybe the cosmetics would be more of something suited for a live stream. But let me know if you guys would like to see a live stream for cosmetics. All right, let's get back to this. Let's get back to the pipes. Well, look at that. It's starting to look like an actual factory. So I've got those hooked up, I think. I don't think I missed any. Everything's color coded, so it should be easy to understand. Now let's go ahead and see how we're gonna get upstairs hooked up, and then we can figure out how to connect upstairs with downstairs. Let's see what we can do. Okay, we're up top here, and I've got some figuring of things out to do here. So each one of these is 35.75 per minute. That's water in and fuel out. So I'm wondering, do I load balance it up here? Or do I load balance it down there and then send it up? Do I use valves? Let me see what I can figure out. All right, so I think I got it all figured out. Been playing around with this for a little while, and I think I've got a good idea here. So basically, each one of these blenders utilizes 35.75 water per minute. And if you do the math, each section is going to take 377.5. And of course, the heavy oil residue will just be half that. So I'll need a Mark II pipe for the water in each section. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4. So that's 4 pipes, and then 4 on top for the heavy oil residue. So yeah, I'm just gonna go ahead and finish piping this up, and hopefully that'll at least give us a good idea of where everything's gonna come in. Might have to use some pumps here. So let's go ahead and let's get all this piped up. All right, it's all hooked up now, and I'll walk you through briefly what we got going on here. So these 10 refineries are producing plastic and heavy oil residue for a total of 100 heavy oil residue. These 10 are producing 150, so that's 250 heavy oil residue. It goes up. And each section here is going to be consuming 178.75 heavy oil residue. And that gives us a leftover of 71.25. So through the use of valves somewhere around in this area, I'm going to divert 71.25 times 8. So I'm going to divert 570 over, which is going to be sent to 9.5 refineries, going to be producing 380 fuel from that. So we're basically making diluted fuel with these, and then we're going to be making some residual fuel with another set of refineries. And all that fuel is going to go into 144 refineries that's going to be making our turbo fuel. So this kind of completes the rubber and plastic section. So yeah, it's coming together nicely, and it's going to be a pretty big build. We're about halfway through it right now, but I wanted to show you guys this before I start closing it off here. So I'm going to go ahead and tidy up a few things here, finish her up, and I think that'll be it. Well, that's going to be it for this episode, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed watching as we started our biggest build yet. It's a pretty massive build, but it's going to give us all the power, plastic, and rubber that we need to complete phase 4. As always, if you guys enjoyed the episode, please leave a thumbs up. Make sure to subscribe so you don't miss part 2 of this one. With that being said, I'll see you guys next time.